Brimstone coming down from the skies. Rivers and seas boiling. 4 years of darkness, earthquakes, volcanoes. Sea rising from the grave. Human sacrifice. Dogs and cats living together. That's hysteria.
I don't do anything intentionally to be different. It's the way I hear it. I don't do anything to make it hard for the listener. Burt Bacharach in a 2020 interview. The composer who died this week brought beautiful complexities to his songs. By Jeff Edgers. Burt Bacharach, despite what you've read in the wake of his death at 94 this week, did not write cocktail jazz, lounge music, or, as one fellow in a perfectly respected British publication claimed, elevate easy listening to high art. Did anybody claim that when George Gershwin or Cole Porter died? Reading some of what you've written, or what has been written about Bacharach over the past couple of days, you think he carpooled to music headquarters with Mitch Miller and Seals and Crofts. Which is why I'd like to urge you to cue up one of his lesser-known songs, a 1967 B-side, Walk Little Dolly. Within seconds, you'll understand just how little easy listening was actually going on. The melody soars at the opening before simmering into a brass line that can be described as nothing less than Bacharachian. Did that man dream of flugelhorns? Then Dionne Warwick delivers a series of rhythmic touchtones on the beat with Hal David's lyrics, "When I hurt, I revert." That roll into the chorus, and that chorus, deliciously catchy, and not because it's simple, predictable, or, dare I say, easy. As Elvis Costello writes in the essay for the soon-to-be-released box set documenting his work with Bacharach, these were hard songs to pull off. It is a tribute to Warwick, he writes, that she never sounded at a stretch while negotiating even the most challenging melody lines and remarkable, almost perverse harmonic leaps. Other adjectives Costello used to describe Bacharach's works: intimate, elegant, passionate, torrid, and erotic. And that body of work is why Bacharach was simply one of the greatest composers of the 20th century. A Gershwin Award winner whose legacy can stand comfortably alongside Porter and Richard Roberts. You could even argue that his contribution and impact on modern music eclipsed those giants, not just because of the range of his success, from film scores to hits everyone from Perry Como and Marty Robbins to El DeBarge, but the ethic that found him writing up until his death. After we talked on the phone Thursday, about Bacharach, songwriter and producer Daniel Tashane texted me homemade videos showing the two working on a new song in Bacharach's living room. Bacharach plays the piano, his head swaying as Tashane sings verses. They talked only 2 weeks ago to discuss keys for a pair of new songs. Even if he was 94, there was no sign that Bacharach intended to slow down. In fact, I was scheduled to interview him sometime later this month for a story on the songs of Bacharach and Costello, a set coming out March 3rd. The box documents the collaboration that began with 1996's God Give Me Strength, commissioned for Alice Anders' film Grace of My Heart, and includes the pair working in the studio as recently as 2021. I was lucky enough to have my own interaction with Bacharach in 2020 when he agreed to do his first Instagram Live on the Washington Post show I hosted during the pandemic. We chatted about Fauci and face masks, his bedtime late, but soon got to the heart of the conversation. How does he write? It happens in different ways with different writers, he told me, before relating how he came up with Alfie for the 1966 film starring Michael Caine. Those lyrics were going to have to say what was going on in the motion picture without giving everything away, he said. So Hal David wrote all the lyrics first, and then I wrote the music. It was a very difficult song to write. 6-bar phrase, 8-bar phrase, 12-bar phrase, all rules are off. You just follow where those words take you. So it took me 3 weeks of writing and the melody on that. And I'm very hard on myself when I'm working because it's inch by inch. Bacharach had an outward ease about him, a suave breeziness befitting someone who won Grammys, Oscars, Emmys, and the Gershwin Award for Popular Songs, which he and Hal David received in 2012. But there were also the marriages that didn't work, the suicide of his first child, Nikki, and other struggles that Bacharach spoke about openly in his later years. Tashane remembers meeting Robert Stringer, the CEO of Sony Music Entertainment, and a longtime friend of Bacharach. Rob said there's a lot of darkness in him, Tashane says, if you can tap into that. David did that for decades. The lyricist partnering with Bacharach, who went on to write 38 charting singles for Warwick between 1961 and 1981, including Do You Know the Way to San Jose, I Say a Little Prayer, and Walk On By. That song, a top 10 hit for Warwick in 1964, hinges on one of his styly unorthodox composure flourishes. In the chorus, all of the instruments drop out, and we're left with just a piano playing a series of riffs over the heartbreaking lilt of Warwick's voice. It is a moment of dissonance inside a piece irresistibly accessible. In 2020, during our Instagram chat, I asked him how something so atypical could sound so effortless. He played the syncopated section at the piano and offered what could be his mission statement. I don't do anything intentionally to be different, Bacharach said. It's the way I hear it. I don't do anything to make it hard for the listener. I want the listener to be loving for 5 days and then not be loving it because they get beat up. You're the final judge. You sit in a room. You nourish it. It is a short form, what we were talking about, 3.5 minutes, 4 minutes, and then there's all different ways of working. Tashane and Bacharach released their collection, Blue Umbrella, in 2020 and worked remotely through the pandemic. But 2 months ago, Tashane, who earned a pair of Grammys for his work with Casey Musgraves, flew out to Los Angeles to spend time with Bacharach. They sat at a pool and talked. Had a family dinner, wine and crab legs, cooked by Jane, Bacharach's wife, since 1993. They headed to the living room, and the composer sat behind the piano as Tashane, standing next to him, sang through a verse of a new song. There are titles for what he had left behind. You're in My Heart Now, Starlight Motel, and a roadmap to complete them, says Tashane. Now I've got to get them across the finish line, says Tashane. But I've worked with him enough that I know what he would want me to do. He would want me to stick with the melody as written. He would want me to find a key that's good. He would want me to have simple, elegant embellishment. Burt Bacharach passed away this week at the age of 94. As we continue this Saturday morning, we play a little tribute to Bacharach, starting with Walk, Little Dolly, and a few other songs that you might know about. Here on the only radio show dedicated to the magic and nostalgia of Saturday morning, hosted by me, a real puppet. At Sam Newsman on Instagram, at Sam Newsman on Twitter, at Sam Newsman on Facebook, Sam Newsman on YouTube, and also TikTok. Download the Live 365 app to listen to this tribute to what can be considered one of the greatest composers of the 20th century, Burt Bacharach. From the most trusted puppet in media. Reporting since Roswell, I'm Sam Newsman, and this is Saturday morning.
It only